In a quiet village, a chilling note, beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor, sparks a mystery. When rich Mr. Harrow is found dead, a jade pendant gone, the police chase a thief, but clever Miss Marple with sharp eyes and village wisdom spots muddy prints, a faked clock, and a heartbroken maid's secret. In 30 seconds, watch her unravel lies, trap the killer, and bring justice, proving no case stumps her. Chapter 1. The Village Buzzest. Merry Mead was a quiet little place, tucked away in the green hills of England, where life moved slow and steady, like a lazy river. Houses with neat gardens lined the narrow lanes, and folks knew each other's business sometimes too well. On this bright morning, June 4th, 2025, the sun peeked over the rooftops, painting the village gold. Birds chirped, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. But a strange feeling hung in the air, like a storm waiting to break. Miss Jane Marple, a kind old lady with sharp eyes and a quick mind, sat in her cozy parlor. Her home was small, but tidy, with lace curtains, a soft armchair, and a table holding her tea set. She wore a simple gray dress and a pink shawl, her white hair tucked under a neat cap. At 70-something, she looked frail, but her brain was as lively as a young girl's. She sipped her tea, the cup warm in her hands, and gazed out the window. Roses bloomed in her garden, red and cheery. But her thoughts drifted to the chatter she'd heard yesterday. Down at the post office, Mrs. Penny, the jolly woman who sorted the mail, had waved an odd little note in the air. "Look at this, miss." "Marple," she'd called, her round face pink with excitement. The note, scribbled in messy black ink, read, "Beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor." No name, no address, just those spooky words. The village buzzed like bees in a hive. Mr. Brown, the baker, laughed it off, saying, "Some kid's prank." Young Tommy, the delivery boy, swore he'd seen a stranger in a dark coat near the manor last week. Mrs. Green, the grocer's wife, whispered it might be a warning, maybe even a curse. Miss Marple didn't laugh or whisper. She listened, her blue eyes sharp, storing every word like pieces of a puzzle. In St. Mary Mead, folks loved to talk. Gossip was their favorite game. A lost cat, a broken fence, a late-night visitor. Nothing stayed secret long. She knew people, how they hid big truths in small lies, how a smile could cover worry or guilt. That note, so odd and grim, stuck in her mind like a burr. Willow Manor, a big old house on the hill, belonged to Mr. Reginald Harrow, a rich man, who kept to himself. He rarely came to the village, and folks said he hoarded treasures, jewels, gold, maybe even secrets. She set her tea down and picked up her knitting, the needles clicking softly. The rhythm helped her think. A shadow. At dusk, she murmured. Dusk meant evening, when light faded and shapes turned tricky. Was it a thief? A threat? Or just a silly joke? Her years in St. Mary Mead taught her one thing. Trouble often started small, like a spark in dry grass, then grew big and wild. She'd seen it before: a jealous wife, a sneaky cheat, a quiet grudge turning dark. People were the same here, or anywhere, full of hopes, fears, and hidden wants. The clock on the mantel ticked past 10, its hands steady and sure. Miss Marple glanced at it, then out the window again. A boy raced by on his bike, his cap crooked, shouting to a friend. Mrs. Wicked, the nosy neighbor, swept her porch, her eyes darting for news. All seemed normal, but that note nagged at her. She decided to take a walk. Fresh air cleared the head. She grabbed her straw hat, tied it with a ribbon, and stepped out, her stick tapping the path. The village hummed, dogs barked, a cart rattled, and the smell of fresh bread drifted from the bakery. She strolled toward the post office. A tiny shop with a red door and a bell that jingled. Mrs. Penny was inside, sorting letters, her apron dusted with flour from a morning bun. "Good day, Miss Marple," she sang, her smile wide, still talking about that funny note. "What do you make of it?" Miss Marple smiled back, gentle and calm. "Just a puzzle, Mrs. Penny." Who dropped it off? The woman shrugged, her curls bouncing. "Came in the mailbag. No mark. No clue. Odd, isn't it? Willow Manor's got folks in a tizzy. Miss Marple nodded, her mind racing. No sender meant someone sneaky, someone with a plan. She thanked Mrs. Penny and stepped out, her eyes scanning the street. Tommy, the delivery boy, leaned on his bike, chewing a straw.
Tommy.
She called softly. You saw a stranger near the manor. He blushed, kicking a pebble. Yes, ma'am. Tall dark coat, hat low skulking by the trees last Tuesday. Gave me the shivers. Miss Marple patted his arm. You're a good boy. Keep your eyes open. He grinned, pedaling off, and she stored that bit away. A stranger, a dark coat. Dusked her walk took her past the church, its steeple tall and gray, and up the hill toward Willow Manor. The house loomed, big and grand, with ivy climbing its stone walls. Its windows stared down, dark and quiet, like eyes hiding a story. Mr. Harrow lived alone, save for a maid, a gardener, and sometimes a guest or two. Folks said he was gruff, locking away jewels and papers, trusting no one. Miss Marple paused, her stick in the dirt, picturing that note. Beware the shadow at dusk. Dusk was nearers away, when the sun dipped low. She turned back, the village below her, buzzing still. At the tea shop, she sat with a cup and a scone, listening. Old Mr. Cobb, a farmer, grumbled, Harrow's got enemies. Monty does that. Miss Daisy, the seamstress, giggled. Maybe it's a ghost. Right. That manor's old as sin. Miss Marple smiled, sipping her tea, but her ears caught every word. Enemies, money? A grudge? She knew how greed or anger could twist a heart like that. Time young Billy stole apples from Mr. Brown, mad over a lost job. Small clues, big truths. The day rolled on, the sun climbing high, then sliding down. Miss Marple went home, tended her roses, and thought. She snipped a wilted bloom, her mind on the manor. Dusk came soft and slow, the sky turning pink, then purple, shadows stretched long, and the air grew cool. Sat by her window, knitting again, watching the light fade. Then it happened. Sharp loud scream, cut the quiet, high and scared. From the direction of Willow Manor, her needles stopped. The village froze. Dogs barked, doors opened, and folks ran toward the hill. Miss Marple rose, her heart quick but steady. She grabbed her shawl and stick, stepping out fast. Down the lane, Mrs. Wicket waved, her face pale. Heard it, Miss Marple. Up at the manor? Oh, mercy. Men and women hurried, whispering, eyes wide. Tommy pedaled by, yelling, Something's wrong up there. Miss Marple nodded, calm but sure. Trouble had landed, just as that note hinted. The climb to Willow Manor was steep, her stick tapping, her breath steady. A crowd gathered at the gate, villagers, a policeman, and young Lucy, Miss Marple's clever friend, her brown hair messy. From running, Miss Marple, Lucy called, her eyes big. It's bad, come quick. They pushed through, the manor's doors open, lights blazing inside. Policeman Bates, a tall man with a stern face, stood by the orchard, a patch of trees. Behind the house, stay back, folks, he barked, his voice gruffed. Miss Marple edged closer, Lucy at her side. There, in the orchard, under a twisted apple tree, lay Mr. Reginald Harrowstill, pale, gone. His gray suit was rumpled, a red mark on his head, his eyes wide and empty. The crowd gasped, some cried, but Miss Marple looked close. Muddy footprints trailed in the grass, faint but clear. A broken clock, fallen from his pocket, lay nearby, stuck at 6:45, the gardener. Old Sam shook his hands dirty, muttering, found him like this. Ma'am, just now. Policeman Bates scratched his chin. Robbery, maybe? Had that jade? Pendant pricey thing? It's gone. The crowd buzzed, louder. Thief, murder, danger. Miss Marple knelt, slow and careful, her eyes sharp. The footprints were deep, fresh, leading to the trees. The clock's glass was cracked, hands frozen. Sam's shaky hands caught her gaze. He looked scared, too scared. She stood, dusting her skirt, her mind whirling. Lucy whispered, What? Do you think, Miss Marple? The old lady smiled, soft and wise. Early yet, dear? Eh. But some things odd clocks don't break easy, and shadows hide plenty. She glanced at the sky, dusk now deep, stars peeking out. The note rang in her head. Beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor. No prank, this real trouble, dark and deep. Back home, the village alive with talk, Miss Marple sat by her fire. She sipped tea, her knitting idle, piecing it together. A note with no name, a stranger in a coat, a scream at dusk, a dead man, a missing jewel. People lied, hid, hurt she knew that. Greed, hate. Love gone sour? St. Mary Mead had taught her. Small signs led to big answers. The muddy prints, the broken clock, Sam's nerves, they were bits of a story, a puzzle only. She might solve. She leaned back, eyes bright. No one else saw it yet. Police would chase the pendant, the obvious. But Miss Marple, quiet and clever, felt the truth hiding like a shadow at dusk. This case, tricky and strange, needed her. Tomorrow, she'd listen, watch, think. The village buzzed, but she'd find the heart of it no one else could. Chapter 2. The Body in the Orchard Esti.
Oh.
Mary Mead woke to a gray dawn, the air heavy with mist and worry. The scream from Willow Manor last night had spread like wildfire, and now the village hummed with fear and guesses. MissJaneMarple.com. As ever, sat at her breakfast table, a slice of toast and a cup of tea before her. Her blue eyes, sharp behind her glasses, flickered with thought. The note, beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor, was no joke now. Mr. Reginald Harrow lay dead, and a mystery had taken root. She buttered her toast, her mind busy. The muddy footprints, the broken clock stuck at 6:45, the gardener's shaky hands. Small things, but big clues. In St. Mary Mead, she'd learned to trust the little signs. A nervous glance, a quick word, a hidden truth. People were people greedy, scared or angry, and trouble followed. She finished her tea, pulled on her coat and hat, and grabbed her stick. Time to see the orchard again. The lane to Willow Manor was busy villagers, whispered heads close, eyes wide. Murder. Mrs. Green, the grocer's wife, her apron twisted in her hands. Poor Mr. Harrow. Who'd do it? Tommy, the delivery boy, darted by, saying they're searching the house now. Miss Marple nodded, quiet and steady, her feet tapping up the hill. The manor loomed, its stone walls cold, ivy clinging like secrets. At the gate, Policeman Bates stood tall, his face grim. Behind him, Inspector Grant, a sturdy man with a bushy mustache, barked orders. Check the windows. Look for tracks. He called to his men, who scurried like ants. The orchard, a tangle of apple trees, stretched behind the house, damp and still. Miss Marple slipped past the crowd, her young friend Lucy at her side, her brown eyes bright with worry. It's awful, Miss Marple, Lucy said. Mr. Harrow gone like that. They reached the spot, roped off with string. There lay Mr. Harrow, covered now with a cloth, his body stiff in the grass. The muddy footprints fanned out, smudged but deep, leading to the trees. The broken clock, its glass cracked, sat on a stump, still stuck at 6:45. Inspector Grant turned, frowning. Miss Marple, this is police work, no place for a lady. She smiled, soft and polite. Just looking, Inspector. A shame, isn't it? He grunted, turning away. Sure it was a robbery. Miss Marple knelt, slow and careful, her eyes roaming. The mud was fresh, the print's wide boots, maybe a man's, someone clever. The clock nagged her, broken to neat, hands frozen. In the village, she'd seen a boy once smash a watch to hide a late night out. Was this a trick? She glanced. At old Sam, the gardener, hovering nearby, his cap low, hands dirty and trembling. Sam, she called gently. You found him here? He nodded, voice shaky. Yes, ma'am, at dusk screamed. I ran, saw him dead. Awful, awful. She watched him, his eyes darting, sweat on his brow. Scared or hiding something? Lucy whispered. He's jumpy, isn't he? Miss Marple nodded, storing it away. Inspector Grant stomped over, holding a notebook. Mr. Harrow took a blow to the head hard. Quick. That jade pendant, green and pricey, gone from his study. Thief caught him, I'd say. The crowd murmured robbery. A stranger. Danger. Miss Marple tilted her head. The study, Inspector? May I see? He sighed, waving her in. Fine, but don't touch. Inside Willow Manor, the air was cool and dim. The study was grand big desk, shelves of books, a safe in the wall. A glass case empty now sat open, dust showing where the jade pendant once rested. Papers lay scattered, a pen rolled on the floor. Miss Marple's eyes danced. No mud here, no marks, but a drawer ajar caught her. She peered closer, a scrap of paper, torn with debt and pay, inked in a hurry. A clue or a mess? Back outside, the inspector quizzed the household. Arthur, Mr. Harrow's nephew, a lanky man with greedy eyes, paced. I was at the pub, I swear. Uncle was stingy, but I didn't hurt him. Clara the maid, small and pale, twisted her hands. I cleaned the hall, sir. Never saw a thing. Her apron had a mud smear, faint but there. A guest, Mr. Lyle, tall in a dark coat, stood cool. Just walking, Inspector, far from here at dusk. His pocket watch gleamed, his fingers tight. On it, Miss Marple listened, quiet as a mouse. Arthur's temper, Clara's nerves, Lyle's calm each felt off, like she knew St. Mary Mead. A man owed money once lashed out. A girl hid a secret in tears. A stranger brought trouble. She wandered back to the orchard, Lucy trailing. The trees were thick, shadows deep. A twig snapped underfoot, and she spotted a thread blue, snagged on a branch. Lucy, look, she said, tucking it in her bag. Small, but it talks. Inspector. Grant marched up, red-faced. Robbery, plain and simple. Thief took the pendant, hid Harrow, ran off. We'll search the woods. His men nodded, rushing off. Miss Marple smiled, gentle. Maybe, Inspector? Clocks break odd and mud tells tales? He huffed, ignoring her, sure of his plan. Lucy frowned. You don't think it's a thief, Miss Marple? The old lady shook her head. Not so. Fast, dear. People hide things. Love, hate, money. We'll see. They walked home, the village alive with talk. Mrs. Wickett waved shrill. A killer loose, Miss Marple. Lock your doors. Tommy zoomed by, yelling no pendant yet. Miss Marple sat, knitting, the needles clicking. Muddy boots, a broken clock, a missing jewel, a torn note, a blue thread, Sam's shakes, Clara's smear, Arthur's anger, Lyle's watch bits and pieces, a jumble. She knew folks. Greed burned, fear shook, lies slipped out. The mist lifted, sun pale. Mr. Harrow was dead, the case tricky. Police chased a thief, but Miss Marple saw deeper. That note shadow at dusk meant something dark planned. She leaned back, eyes bright. Small clues, big story. She'd watch, listen, think. Oh, no one else could untangle this, not yet. Chapter 3. Suspects and Secrets. The morning sun peeked through the mist in St. Mary Mead, casting a pale glow over the village. Talk of Mr. Harrow's death at Willow Manor buzzed like flies, every tongue wagging with fear and wonder. Miss Jane? Marple, neat in her gray dress and straw hat, sat on her porch, her stick by her side. Her sharp blue eyes watched the lane folks hurried past, whispering of murder and the missing jade pendant. She sipped tea, her mind busy, piecing together the muddy prints. The broken clock at 6:45, the gardener's shakes, and that spooky note, beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor. She knew trouble hid in plain sight. In St. Mary Mead, secrets slipped out, jealous wives, sneaky boys, angry neighbors. People were the same everywhere, driven by want, hurt, or greed. Today, she'd dig deeper, watch closer. Inspector Grant and his men swarmed the manor, chasing a thief, but Miss Marple felt the truth was trickier. She rose, grabbed her stick, and headed up the hill, ready to spot what others missed. At Willow Manor, the stone house stood grim, its windows dark. Policemen tramped about, boots muddy, voices loud. Inspector Grant, his mustache bristling, stood by the orchard, notebook in hand. 3 suspects, he barked to policeman Bates. We'll crack them. Miss Marple edged near, quiet and small, her ears open. Lucy, her bright young friend, joined her, whispering, They've got names, Miss Marple. It's heating up. First was Arthur, Mr. Harrow's nephew, a tall, thin man with sharp eyes and a sour face. He paced the lawn, hands in his pockets, hair messy. I was at the pub, Inspector, snapped voice loud. Ask old Joe. The barman, uncle hoarded money, never gave me a penny, but I didn't touch him. Inspector Grant squinted. You owed debts, lad. Needed cash, eh? Found you near the manor at 6? Arthur flushed, fists tight. I left early. No proof. Miss Marple watched his anger flared fast, like a lad in the village once, mad and broke. Who'd smashed a shed? Next came Clara, the maid, small and pale, her dark hair pinned tight. She stood by the door, apron wrinkled, hands twisting. Cleaned the hall, sir, she said, voice soft, eyes down. Saw Mr. Harrow at 5, alive, then stayed downstairs and never went to the orchard. A mud smear lingered on her apron, faint brown. Inspector Grant leaned close. You handled as things new about the jade pendant, didn't you? Clara shook, near tears. I'm honest, sir. Miss Marple noted her nerves, her quick glance away scared or hiding a lie. Last was Mr. Lyle, the guest, tall and cool, in a dark coat, a shiny pocket watch in his hand. His face stayed calm, eyes steady. I walked the fields, Inspector. Far off at dusk, he said, smooth as butter. Came back late, heard the scream, that's all. He gripped his watch, fingers tight, ticking loud. Grant frowned. Stranger here? Eh? Near the manor? And that pendant's gone? Mr. Lyle smiled cold. I'm no thief, sir. Miss Marple tilted her head. His calm felt too perfect, like a sly fox she'd known. Charming but tricky. The inspector scribbled, grumbling. Someone's lying. Blow to the head. Pendant missing, robberies clear. His men nodded, searching. Grass and trees. Miss Marple stepped back. Lucy at her elbow. What do you see, Miss Marple? Lucy asked, eyes wide. The old lady smiled, gentle. People, dear. Agree. Scared. Coolidge tells a tale. She thought of St. Mary Mead. A debtor's rage. A shy girl's secret. A stranger's mask. Clues hid there. She wandered to the village, stick-tapping. Ears sharp. The tea shop. Folks gathered, cups clinking, voices busy. Mrs. Green, the grocer's wife, leaned close. Arthur's a hothead, Miss Marple. Owed money to half the town, wanted his uncle's gold. Old Mr. Cobb, the farmer, nodded, puffing. Clara's odd, quiet lass. But I saw her crying by the manor last month. Trouble with Harrow, maybe? Miss Daisy, the seamstress, giggled. That Mr. Lyle's fancy? New here always. Fiddling with that watch. Shady, I say. Miss Marple sipped tea, listening hard. Arthur's debt's greed. Clara's tears love or fear. Lyle's watch nerves are a trick. She knew folks. A village man hid cash woes. A maid wept over a lost beau. A guest stirred gossip. Back home, she sat by her fire, knitting, needles clicking. The crowd's words mixed with the manor's sights, muddy prints. A broken clock, Sam shakes, a torn debt note, a blue thread. Arthur yelled. Clara quaked. Lyle stayed slick. She leaned back, eyes bright. Inspector Grant saw a thief, but she saw more hurt hearts, old grudges, sly plans. The note's shadow at dusk loomed a killer, not just a robber. Suspects. And secrets danced in her mind, a puzzle growing clear. She'd watch, ask, think no one else could unravel this tangle. Chapter 4. The Clue in the Conversation St. Mary Mead buzzed under a cloudy sky, the air cool and damp at 10:53 a.m. on Wednesday. June 4th, 2025. News of Mr. Harrow's murder at Willow Manor flew from house to house. Folks chattering like sparrows. Miss Jane Marple, tidy in her gray dress and pink shawl, sat in her cozy parlor, a tea tray before her. Her sharp blue eyes twinkled, her mind racing over clues, muddy footprints. A broken clock stuck at 6:45, Sam's shaky hands, a missing jade. Pendant, a torn note with debt and pay. That eerie warning, beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor, felt close now. It's dark and real. She knew people hid things, anger, fear, love behind smiles and words. In St. Mary Mead, gossip was gold, spilling secrets, like a tipped jar. Today, she'd listen, catch the hints others missed. The police, led by Inspector Grant, hunted a thief, but Miss Marple sensed a deeper story. She invited friends for Mrs. Green, Miss Daisy, and young Lucy ready to sift their talk for truth. Her needles clicked, knitting a scarf as she waited. The doorbell jingled, and in they came. Faces bright with news. Mrs. Green, the grocer's wife, plopped down, her apron crooked. Miss Marple, it's dreadful. Poor Mr. Harrow bashed. In the orchard, they say the pendant's worth a fortune. Miss Daisy, the seamstress, nodded, her curls bouncing. A robber? Sure. But I saw Clara, that maid, acting odd, pale, jumpy, near the manor last week. Lucy, clever and quick, sipped tea, eyes big. And Arthur, the nephew, he's mad all the time, yelling at folks for money. Miss Marple poured tea, her smile. Soft, sad business indeed. What else, dears? She leaned in, ears sharp. Mrs. Green stirred her cup, frowning. Clara told me once Mr. Harrow was scared, kept saying shadows would get him. Locked his study tight. He did. Miss Daisy giggled, nervous. Arthur came to my shop begging cash for debts, said his uncle was a miser. Wouldn't help. Hothead, that one. Lucy piped up, I saw Mr. Lyle, the guest, by the lane yesterday, clutching that shiny watch, staring at the manor queer. Wasn't it? The old lady nodded, her mind buzzing. Clara's talk of shadows, fear, or a clue. Arthur's debts greed, driving him. Lyle's watch, hiding time, or guilt. In St. Mary Mead she'd seen it. A man wild for money, a girl crushed by a harsh word, a stranger with a sly plan. She passed scones, gentle and calm. Poor Clara, so quiet. Any trouble there, Mrs. Green? The woman leaned close, voice low. Well, between us, she fancied Mr. Harrow loved him, I'd say. Cried when he snapped at her, called her silly. Heartbroken, poor thing. Miss Marple's eyes lit up, hidden by a sip. Love turned sour, big trouble. She turned to Miss Daisy. And Arthur, dear? Always cross? The seamstress nodded. Oh, yes. Ranted last month, said Harrow owed him, family or not. Stormed off, red as a beet. Lucy chimed in, Mr. Lyle's too smooth, Miss Marple. Kept patting that watch, like he's nervous, but his face stays cool, odd man. The tea steamed, the room warm, but Miss Marple felt a chill. Clara's broken heart, Arthur's rage, Lyle's calm mask motive swirled. She knew village ways. A jilted lass hid pain, then lashed out. A broke boy blamed kin, quiet one tricked. All, thank you, dears, she said, sweet as pie. Gossip's a help sometimes. They laughed, chatting on, but she stored every word. Her guests left, the clock ticking past noon. Miss Marple walked to her garden, stick-tapping the air. Fresh roses bloomed red, but her thoughts were on the manor. Clara's love for Harrow, did rejection sting enough to kill? Arthur's debts, did he strike for cash? Lyle's watch, did it tie to 6:45, the broken clock? She snipped a bud, mind racing. St. Mary Mead tale came back, a girl spurned. Broke a window in fury petty, but passion burned deep. She strolled to the village, hat tied tight, eyes keen. At the post office, Mrs. Penny waved, cheery. Still no clue on that note, Miss Marple? Shadow at dusk, spooky, eh? Miss Marple smiled. Very dear. Any talk of the manor folk? Mrs. Penny leaned in, eager. Well, Sam the gardener muttered about Harrow, yelling at him bad pay. Long hours, shook like a leaf today. A Clousom's grudge tied to those shaky hands. Down the lane, Tommy, the delivery boy, pedaled up. Miss Marple. Heard Mr. Lyall asking about trains wants out quick. Maybe. She patted his arm. Good eyes, Tommy. Lyall, eager to flee, suspicious. Back home she sat, knitting the fire crackling. Talk piled up. Clara's love, Arthur's anger, Lyall's rush. Sam's gripe. The muddy prints, the torn debt note. The blue thread pieces fit somewhere. Inspector Grant saw a robber, but Miss Marple saw hearts, hurt, greedy, sly. The shadow at dusk wasn't just a thief. It was a plan, a passion. She leaned back, eyes bright. Conversation held clues, small but loud. She'd dig, watch, think no one else could see it clear. Chapter 5. The Midnight Search St. Mary Mead lay quiet under a starry sky, the clock striking 11 on June 4th, 2025. The village, still buzzing from Mr. Harrow's murder at Willow Manor, settled into whispers behind closed doors. Miss Jane Marple, in her cozy cottage, sat by the fire, her pink shawl snug, her sharp blue eyes alive. Clues danced in her mind. Muddy footprints, a broken clock stuck at 6:45, Sam's shaky hands, a missing jade pendant, a torn note with debt and pay, a blue thread. Gossip rang to Clara's love, Arthur's anger, Lyall's cool watch, Sam's grudge. That note, beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor, felt heavy. True. She knew folks hid big things and small acts hurt greed. Tricks Inspector Grant chased a thief, but Miss Marple saw deeper. Passion or pain, not just a grab for gold. The manor held answers, locked in shadows. She needed more clues the police missed. Young Lucy, clever and brave, could help. Miss Marple tapped her stick, a plan brewing. Midnight search, quiet and sly, might show the truth. She called Lucy, whispering, "Meet me at 11:30, dear. Bring a lantern. We'll peek at Willow Manor." Lucy arrived, her brown hair tucked under a cap, lantern glowing, eyes big. A search, Miss Marple. Risky. The old lady smiled, gentle. "Truth hides, Lucy. We'll be careful." They slipped out. The night cool, crickets chirping. The moon, a thin slice. St. Mary Mead slept. House is dark, only a dog's bark breaking the still. They crept up the hill, sticks and shoes soft on dirt, the manor looming stone walls grim. Windows black dot at the gate. Miss Marple paused, ears sharp. No police tonight. Grant's men searched woods, sure of a robber. The orchard lay quiet, where Harrow fell, mud and grass silent. "Inside, dear?" she whispered. Lucy nodded, easing. The gate open, its creak loud in the dark. They tiptoed to a side door, unlocked. Clara's carelessness, maybe. Inside, the manor felt cold, air heavy, floors creaking underfoot. Lucy's lantern cast gold light, shadows jumping. They aimed for the study, heart of Harrow's world. Big desks sat, messy papers strewn, a pen rolled off. The glass case, empty of the jade pendant, gaped. Miss Marple's eyes roamed, quick and keen. Look low, Lucy corners cracks. Lucy knelt, lantern swaying, checking rugs and boards. Miss Marple peered at the desk. The torn debt note, gone, police took it, likely. Still ajar called her. She eased it open, slow, and found a letter, folded, hidden deep. She lifted it, hands steady. Inked in a rush, it read, "Reginald, you turn me away, break my trust years of loyalty, and this I'll make you see." No name, but the hurt leaped out. Tanger, betrayal. Miss Marple tucked it in her bag, mind racing. A spurned friend. A kin, Clara's love fit, or Arthur's rage. In St. Mary Mead, a jilted girl once burned a barn passion, flared fast. Lucy hissed, "Miss Marple, here." Under a chair, the lantern lit a tiny key. Brass scratched. "A lock somewhere," Lucy said, excited. Miss Marple nodded, pocketing it. "Good dear. Maybe a box is safe." They crept to the hall, walls tall, picture staring Harrows. Stern face, old family. A clock ticked, not broken, steady at 11:52. Miss Marple frowned, time mattered. That broken one, 6:45, felt wrong staged. They slipped to the orchard door, open a crack. Outside, the trees loomed, dark and twisty. The spot where Harrow lay was bare now, body gone, but mud held prints, deep and messy. Lucy swung the lantern, light catching a glint glass, the broken clock left by police. Miss Marple bent, slow. Eyes sharp, the hands stuck at 6:45 were bent, forced. "Look, Lucy," she murmured, not smashed, pushed. Lucy gasped. "A trick? To fool us?" Miss Marple nodded, thinking. In the village, a boy faked a clock once, hiding a late fight. Did the killer strike early, twist the hands to dusk? The blue thread, the mud, the letter clues piled up. Twigs snapped, and they froze. Footsteps, soft, came near. Lucy dimmed the lantern, heart thumping. Miss Marple pulled her back, behind a tree, quiet as mice. A shadow moved all, slow past the orchard, then gone. Man, woman, too dark to tell. They waited, breath held, then crept home, the night deep, stars bright. At her cottage, Miss Marple lit a lamp, sat, knitting, needles clicking. Lucy paced, eager. That letter, the key, the clock, Miss Marple. Who did it? The old lady smiled, calm, slow, dear. A hurt heart. Wrote that Clara, maybe, or Arthur? The clock's a dodge, death came before dusk. The key's a hope, she thought. Village wastelands covered pain, tricks hid time. Inspector, Grant saw a thief, but Miss Marple felt more betrayal, fury, a plan. The shadow at dusk played games. The letter, key, clock, thread bits of truth. She leaned back, eyes bright. A midnight showed plenty, more would come. Oh, she'd dig. Watch, think no one else could. Chapter 6. Unraveling Alibis. Mary Mead woke to a damp dawn. The clock at 10:55 a.m. on June 4th, 2025, ticking steady. Willow Manor's murder, Mr. Reginald Harrow dead in the orchard, kept the village buzzing, folks scared and curious. Jane Marple, neat in her gray dress and straw hat, sat in her cozy parlor, tea steaming, her sharp blue eyes alive. Clues swirled, muddy footprints, a broken clock stuck at 6:45, Sam's shaky hands, a missing jade pendant, a torn debt note, a blue thread, a hurt-filled letter, a brass key. Gossip added, fuel Clara's love, Arthur's anger, Lyle's. Cool watch, Sam's grudge. That note, beware the shadow at dusk. For its strikes at Willow Manor haunted her. She knew people lied, alibis wobbly as jelly. In St. Mary Mead, a boy swore he was home, hid a prank. A wife claimed sleep, snuck out. Miss Marple sipped tea, mind sharp. Inspector Grant chased a thief, but she saw deeper passion, betrayal. Today she'd test stories, poke holes. Grabbed her stick, called Lucy, and headed out. The air cool. Village alive with whispers at Willow Manor. The stone house loomed, grim and quiet. Inspector Grant, mustache bristly, stood on the lawn, voice loud. Alibis, Bates. We'll crack. Policeman Bates nodded, notebook ready. Miss Marple and Lucy, her bright friend, slipped close, ears open. Grant hauled and suspects Arthur, Clara. Mr. Lyle faces tense, eyes darting. Miss Marple watched, calm, ready to catch slips. Arthur, the nephew, lanky and red-faced, went first. I told you, Inspector, he barked, hands flailing. At the pub, 6 to 8, old Joe saw, drank ale, played cards. Grant leaned in, stern. Joe says you left by 6:30, Arthur. Owed money. Mad at Harrow near the orchard, eh? Arthur sputtered. No, I wandered, got air. Didn't kill him. Miss Marple noted his temper, his vague wandered, shaky. Like a village lad dodging trouble. Clara, the maid, small and pale, stepped up. Hands twisting her apron, a mud smear faint. I cleaned the hall, sir. 5 to 7, she said, voice soft, eyes low. Mr. Harrow was alive, in his study. Stayed downstairs after. Grant frowned. You knew the pendant Clara cleaned there, right? No one saw you at 7? She shook, near tears. I was busy. Sorenest. Miss Marple saw the mud, her flinch nerves are a lie. Like a St. Mary Mead girl hiding a secret, Mr. Lyle. The guest, tall in his dark coat, stood cool, watch in hand, ticking loud. Walked the fields, Inspector. 6 to 8, he said. Smooth, eyes steady. Far off, heard the scream, came back. Grant glared. No one saw you, Lyle. New here, fancy watch after the pendant. Lyle smiled, cold. Just a walker. Sir, Miss Marple watched to calm, fingers tight on that watch. A village stranger once hid truth behind charm. Grant scribbled, grumbling, lies somewhere. Blow to the head, pendant gone, robberies it. His men nodded, searching bushes. Miss Marple stepped away, Lucy whispering their wobbly Miss Marple. Who's true? She smiled, gentle. None yet, dear. Story shift times. Key, she thought. Muddy prints. A clock forced to 6:45. A letter of betrayal. Alibis bent, didn't break yet. They walked to the village, stick tapping, air damp. At the pub, old Joe, ruddy and gruff, wiped mugs. Miss Marple, Arthur was here, he said. It at 6. Loud, drank fast, gone by 6:30, mad as. A hornet, she nodded, eyes bright. 6:30 near dusk, near the manor. At the post office, Mrs. Penny waved. Clara dashed by, sickish, flustered, apron dirty odd for a cleaner. Mud again, time off. Tommy, the delivery boy, pedaled. Up. Saw Mr. Lyle, Miss Marple, Field's Edge, 6:40. Watch in hand, hurried, sneaky. Miss Marple thanked them, mind whirling. Arthur left early, angry. Clara ran, muddy. Lyle roamed, timed odd. In St. Mary Mead, loose alibis hid Deedza. Boy out late, alas, slipped away. Back at the manor, she eyed the orchard. Mud still marked, the broken clock gone to police. She pictured it, hands bent, not smashed. Time lied death earlier. Lucy frowned. All near dusk, Miss Marple, but off somehow. She nodded, calm. Yes, dear. Clock's a trick murder before 6:45. Who moved fast? Arthur's gap, Clara's. Mud, Lyle's watch, clues tied in. The letter, you break my trust, sang of hurt. The key hinted a lock. She sat home, knitting, fire warm, needles clicking. Alibis unraveled, Arthur free, Clara shaky, Lyle sly. Grant saw theft, but she felt motive, rage, love, a plan. The shadow at dusk loomed, crafty. Miss Marple leaned back, eyes bright. Stories cracked, truth peeked. She'd watch, ask, think no one else could. Chapter 7. The Village Parallels. Mary Mead lay still under a gray sky. The clock ticking past 10:55 a.m. on June 4th, 2025. The village hummed with worry. Mr. Reginald Harrow's murder at Willow Manor, a dark cloud. Miss Jane Marple, snug in her pink shawl and gray dress, sat by her fire, knitting, needles clicking, her sharp blue eyes bright. Clues piled high, muddy footprints, a broken clock stuck at 6:45, Sam's shaky hands, a missing jade pendant, a torn debt note, a blue thread, a hurt letter, a brass key. Gossip fueled at Clara's love, Arthur's anger, Lyle's sly watch, Sam's grudge. Alibis wobbled, and that note, beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor, loomed big. She sipped tea, mind racing. People hid truth. Greed, pain, tricksin, loose tales. Inspector Grant swore it was a thief, but Miss Marple felt more, a heart turned dark. The clock, bent not broken, screamed a light before dusk. St. Mary Mead taught her. Small acts echoed big crimes. A village, parallel, a memory, might light the way. She leaned back, knitting, chasing a thread from her past. Years ago, young Tim, a St. Mary Mead boy, stole from Mr. Brown's shop, mad over a lost job. He smashed the clock, set it back, swore he was home at 6 fooled folks, till Miss Marple saw his muddy shoes, his sly grin. A trick to hide time, like now. Was Harrow killed early? The clock staged to 6:45? She pictured the orchard, muddy prints, a blue thread. The letter, you break my trust, cried betrayal. Her village lens sharpened it. She grabbed her stick, hat on, and stepped out, the air cool, village busy. Folks whispered, killer loose, poor Harrow. At the tea shop she sat, tea warm, ears open. Mrs. Green, the grocer's wife, bustled in. Miss Marple? Arthur's a mess, raged at Harrow. For moneykin should share, he said. Miss Daisy, the seamstress, nodded. Clara's quiet, but I heard her sob. Harrow was mean, brushed her off. Tommy, the delivery boy, piped up. Mr. Lyle's watch ticks. Funny saw him pace, sneaky near dusk. Miss Marple smiled, gentle. Sad days, dears. Any more? Her mind clicked. Arthur's greed, Clara's hurt, Lyle's odd time. In St. Mary Mead, a broke lad struck out. A spurned girl hid pain. A stranger dodged eyes. She thought of Tim as clock trick, his mud, his lie. Here, the broken clock, muddy prints, a hurt letter matched. Someone faked dusk, hid a deed. She strolled home, stick tapping, sky dull. The manor loomed in her mind. Orchard, study, clues. The clock, forced to 6:45, felt like Tim's dodged death earlier, maybe 5. The letter pointed to Clara Louved Harrow, got scorn or Arthur owed. Family, cash. Lyle's watch, ticking wrong, nagged her. A village case rang clear. A wife, mad at a cheat, faked a fall, blamed time. Motive hid here, love debt, a plan. Back home, she sat, knitting, fire crackling. Lucy popped in, eyes big. Miss Marple, police say robbery. Searching woods still. The old lady nodded, calm. They see simple, dear. I see St. Mary Matrix. Hurts, lies. She laid it out. Muddy prints, fit boots. Maybe Clara's mud-smeared apron. The clock a lie like Tim's. The letter. A cry Clara's heart. Arthur's want. Lyle's watch time off. A cover. Lucy frowned. A trick, Miss Marple. Who'd fake it? She smiled, soft. Someone clever, dear. Village ways show McGreed bends truth. Pain strikes hard. In St. Mary Mead, Tim hid a theft, mud, and a clock as mask. Here, murder wore a dusk disguise. The blue thread, the key clues waited. Arthur roamed. Clara shook. Lyle slipped alibis thin. Inspector Grant saw a thief, pendant, gone. Miss Marple saw a parallel, a village boy, a fake time, a hidden blow. The shadow at dusk played sly, not just a grab. She leaned back, eyes bright, needles busy. The past lit the now clues tied tight. She'd watch, think, did no one else could. Chapter 8. The trap is set astee. Mary Mead hummed with tension. Clock ticking past 10:56 a.m. on June 4th, 2025. Mr. Reginald Harrow's murder at Willow Manor kept folks on edge. Whispers flying like leaves in the wind. Miss Jane Marple, tidy in her gray dress and pink shawl, sat in her cozy cottage, knitting needles clicking, her sharp blue eyes gleaming. Clues stacked up, muddy footprints, a broken clock stuck at 6:45, Sam's shaky hands, a missing jade pendant, a torn debt note, a blue thread, a hurt letter, a brass key. Al spurned Clara's love, Arthur's anger, Lyle's sly watch, Sam's grudge. That eerie note, beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor felt. Alive, tricky. She sipped tea, mind buzzing. People hid dark deeds, greed, pain, lies behind shaky tales. Inspector Grant swore a thief took the pendant, but Miss Marple saw deeper. A faked clock, a heart betrayed. Her village passed him, faking time with a broken clock lit the way. Death came before dusk, staged a fool. She needed a push, a trap to shake the truth loose. She leaned forward, a plan blooming, and called Lucy. Dear, fetch Inspector Grant. We'll stir the pot. Lucy, bright and quick, dashed off, her cap crooked. Soon, she returned Grant in tow, his mustache bristly, face gruff. Miss Marple, this is police work. He huffed, boots thumping her rug. She smiled, gentle. Just a thought, Inspector. Say the jade pendants found tell the village. The killer might jump, show their hand. Grant frowned, then nodded. But, worth a try. We'll spread it found in the woods. He stomped out, ready to act. Miss Marple knew St. Mary Mead, A liar flinched when caught like a boy nabbed for stealing jam. A trap could rattle them, Clara, Arthur, Lyle, or Sam. She grabbed her stick, hat tied, and headed out with Lucy. The air cool, sky gray. The village buzzed. Mrs. Wicket yelled, "Pendants back!" Tommy pedaled, shouting, "News, folks!" Grant's men fanned out, word racing. The jewel, safe, found near trees, at the hall. A big room by the church, folks gathered for a village meeting perfect to watch. Miss Marple and Lucy slipped in, chairs creaking, air thick. Suspects came. Arthur lanky, eyes wild, Clara pale, hands twisting. Mr. Lyle, cool, watch gleaming. Sam, shaky, cap low. Grant stood tall, voice booming. Good news, all. Jade pendants found safe in our hands. We're close now. The crowd gasped. Clapped, but Miss Marple's eyes darted. Sharp dot. Arthur fidgeted, face red, muttering, "Good, good." His fingers shook, gaze flicking to the door. Greed, did he crave it still? Clara, by a wall, bit her lip, eyes wet, hands tight on her apron mud, faint there. Fear or guilt? Mr. Lyle leaned back, calm, but his hand gripped his watch. Knuckles. White, ticking loud, cool yet tense hiding. What? Sam. Near the back, tugged his cap, feet shuffling, sweat on his brow. Nerves or a slip? Miss Marple whispered, "Watch, Lucy." They twitch. Lucy nodded, eyes big. The room chattered. Mrs. Green said, "Thief's mad now." Miss Daisy giggled. "Who's scared?" Miss Marple saw it. A trap stirred hearts. In St. Mary Mead, a girl caught lying, ran. A man trapped, yelled, someone would crack. She stepped outside, air fresh, stick tapping, scanning. A glove muddy gray, a sea-stitched lay dropped by a bench. Clara's. She bagged it, mind racing. Back inside, Grant talked. Folks hung on. Arthur paced, glaring. Clara hovered. Eyes down, jumpy. Lyle stood, watch in hand, cool but stiff. Sam slipped out, fast odd. Miss Marple thought, "The letter you break my trust. Fit Clara's love, Arthur's want." The clock faked, hid time. The glove, muddy, sang. In the village, a boy dropped a tool, gave himself up. Killer might now. Lucy tugged her sleeve. The glove, Miss Marple. Clara's. She smiled, calm. Maybe, dear. Someone's rattle trap's working. They left village alive, talk wild. At home, she sat, knitting, fire warm. The glove mud like the orchards pointed Clara, near hurt. Arthur's shake, Lyle's grip, Sam's de shins grew. Grant saw theft, but she saw passion rage. Love, a dodge. The shadow at dusk squirmed, trapped tight. Miss Marple leaned back, eyes bright. A glove, a flinched truth crept close. She'd wait, watch, think no one else could.
Chapter 9, the final piece, is zesty.
Mary Mead buzzed with a nervous hum. The clock ticking past 10:57 a.m. on June 4th, 2025, the village reeled from Mr. Reginald Harrow's murder at Willow Manor. Doc of the trap word the jade pendant was found stirring folks wild. Miss Jane Marple, neat in her gray dress and straw hat, sat in her cozy cottage, knitting needles clicking, her sharp blue eyes bright. Clues piled high, muddy footprints, a broken clock stuck at 6:45, Sam's shaky hands, a missing pendant, a torn debt note, a blue thread, a hurt letter, a brass key, a muddy glove with C. Gossip, burn Clara's love, Arthur's anger, Lyle's sly watch, Sam's grudge. That note, beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor, felt close. Cunning she sipped tea, mind racing. People hid dark heartspain. Greed lies behind wobbly tales. Inspector Grant swore a thief struck, but Miss Marple saw deeper. A faked clock, a personal sting. The trap shook. The Martha fidgeted. Clara flinched. Lyle gripped. Chalk up to 250-character script. Sam dashed. The glove, Clara's mark, sang. A St. Mary Mead boy dropped a clue. Trapped. This killer would, too. She needed final pieces. She called Lucy, dear. We'll dig quietly. Lucy, bright and eager, arrived, eyes big. The glove, Miss Marple. What's next? The old lady smiled, gentle. Think, dear. Clues fit, let's test. They grabbed the key, the letter you break my trust and glove, and crept to Willow Manor, the air cool, sky gray. The house loomed, quiet, dark. Inside, the study felt cold, shadows long. Miss Marple eyed the desk, the empty pendant. Case, the letter burned, betrayal, rage, Clara's love spurned, Arthur's want, fierce. The key gleamed, a lock waited. They tiptoed to a hall, walls tall, air still. Lucy whispered, a safe, maybe? Miss Marple nodded, scanning. Small box, locked, sat on a shelf, dusty old. The key fit clicked open. Inside, papers, notes from Harrow. Clara, enough, leave me be. A sting, harsh dot. Miss Marple's mind whirled. St. Mary Mead taught her. A girl jilted, turned wild. A man broke, fought kin. The letter matched Clara, hurt, mad. The clock, bent to 6:45, lied death early, 4 or 5. Muddy prints, the glove Clara's trail? Arthur raged, Lyle hid, Sam shook, but the sea glared. She murmured, motive, dear love, not gold. They slipped out, manor still, stars peeking. At home, fire warm, Miss Marple sat, knitting, piecing it. Lucy paced. Clara, Miss Marple. The glove, the letter. She nodded, calm. Likely, dear. Love broke. Her ejection, fury. Clock's a trick, mud's hers. The key, papers, thread. Clara's story grew. Arthur's greed, Lyle's watch. Sam's fear faded next to her pain. Inspector Grant saw theft. But Miss Marple felt truth. A heart scorned, struck. The shadow at dusk was Clara, sly. She leaned back, eyes bright. Clues fit, glove. Mud, letter, time. One step left, truth near. She'd watch, plan, think no one else could. Chapter 10, The Revelation St. Mary Mead thrummed with a quiet buzz, and the clock ticking past 10:58 a.m. on June 4th, 2025. The village. Gripped by Mr. Reginald Harrow's murder at Willow Manor, hung on every whisper, the trap about the jade pendant, stirring hopes and fears. Miss Jane Marple, tidy in her gray dress and pink shawl, sat in her cozy cottage, knitting needles still, her sharp blue eyes blazing. Clues locked in, muddy footprints, a broken clock stuck at 6:45, Sam's shaky hands, a missing pendant, a torn debt note, a blue thread, a hurt letter, a brass key, a muddy glove with C. Gossip fueled at Clara's love, Arthur's. Anger, Lyle's, sly watch, Sam's grudge. That note, beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor, pointed close. She sipped tea, mind clear. People hid dark deeds, pain, rage, tricksin', flimsy lies. Inspector Grant chased a thief. But Miss Marple saw truth. A faked clock, a scorned heart, the glove, the letter. You break my trust, and Harrow's note, Clara, leave me. B. Pinned the maid. St. Mary Mead showed her. A jilted girl struck hard, mud and lies her mask. The pieces fit, time to show all. She called Lucy. Dear, fetch the inspector, suspect's manor, noon. Lucy, quick and bright, dashed off, eyes big. It's time, Miss Marple. Soon, they trekked to Willow Manor, stick tapping, air cool, sky dull. The stone house loomed, grim, quiet. Inside, the big hall glowed. Chairs set, crowd small villagers, Mrs. Green, Miss Daisy, Tommy, buzzing low. Inspector Grant stood, mustache stiff, frowning. Arthur paced, red-faced. Clara shrank, pale. Mr. Lyle sat, cool, watch ticking. Sam fidgeted, cap low. Miss Marple stepped up, small but sure, voice soft. Good day, all, she began, calm. Mr. Harrow's gone, a sad end. Police say theft, but I see more. Let's unravel it. Grant huffed, arms crossed. She held the glove, muddy, sea clear, found near here after our trap. Mud matches the orchard where Harrow fell. Clara gasped, eyes wet, hands tight. Miss Marple pulled the letter. This hidden you break my trust. Anger. And this from Harrow. Clara, leave me be. A harsh no. She turned, eyes sharp. Clara, you loved him, yes? He turned you awami and cold. It stung. Clara shook, voice tiny. I cared, ma'am. He laughed. Called me nothing. Miss Marple nodded. The clock, broken, stuck at 6:45 a lie. Death came earlier, 4 or 5. You struck Clara in rage muddy prints, your glove. Pendant's a trick hid, not stolen. Eyes wide, Grant blinked. Miss Marple, you're sure? She smiled, gentle. Yes, sir. Mud on her apron, the letters cry love turned dark. St. Mary Mead shows me a hurt heart lashes out, hides truth. She pointed, calm. Clara, you hit him. Fake dusk. Took the jewel to fool us. Clara sobbed, sinking, hands over face. I did. He broke, mealed, mocked. I grabbed his stick, Swungo. I'm sorry. Villagers gasped. Grant stepped. Up stern. Clara, you're coming with us. She nodded, tears falling, led away. Arthur gaped. Lyle sat still. Sam sighed, relieved. Miss Daisy whispered, she knew. Mrs. Green nodded, awed. Miss Marple stood back, quiet, Lucy at her side. You got it, Miss Marple? The girl said, beaming breath. Grant turned, gruff but soft. Good work, ma'am. We'd have missed it, thief seemed sure. She smiled, kind. People, Inspector Hart's tell all. The hall cleared, talk wild, truth out. At home, fire warm, Miss Marple sat, knitting, eyes bright. Clue's glove, mud letter, clock fit tight. The shadow at dusk was Clara, pain her spark. Justice came, puzzle done. She'd seen, thought, won. No one else could. Chapter 11. A satisfying closest. Mary Mead glowed under a soft sun. The clock ticking past 10:58 a.m. on June 4th, 2025. The village, rocked by Mr. Reginald Harrow's murder at Willow Manor, now buzzed with awe and relief. Miss Jane Marple, neat. In her gray dress and pink shawl, sat in her cozy cottage, knitting needles clicking, her sharp blue eyes calm. The puzzle muddy footprints. A broken clock stuck at 6:45, Sam's shaky hands, a missing jade pendant. A torn debt note, a blue thread, a hurt letter, a brass key, a muddy glove with C, was solved. Gossip Clara's love, Arthur's anger, Lyle's sly watch, Sam's grudge letter there. That note, beware the shadow at dusk, for it strikes at Willow Manor, unveiled Clara. The maid, driven by a broken heart. She sipped tea, mind steady. People hid dark feelings, pain, rage, lies till truth slipped out. Inspector Grant saw a thief, but Miss Marple, with St. Mary Mead's lessons, saw deeper. A spurned girl, a fake time, a strike in fury. Clara's confession? I hit him. He broke me. Sealed it. Justice landed. Village safe. Miss Marple smiled, content, the fire warm. Outside, Stee Mary Mead hummed. Mrs. Green, the grocer's wife, waved, beaming. Miss Marple, you did. It Clara caught amazing. Miss Daisy, the seamstress, ran up, eyes wide. How'd you know, ma'am? We're all stunned. Tommy, the delivery boy, pedaled by, yelling, You're a wonder, Miss Marple. Town's at peace. The air felt light, fear gone, chatter bright. Lucy, clever and quick, burst in, face aglow. Miss Marple, they're talking everywhere. Cracked it, nobody else could. The old lady nodded, gentle. Dear, it's people same here, same anywhere. Hurt hearts do wild things, she thought back. Muddy glove, Clara's mud. The letters cry, You break my trust, Harrows. Harsh, leave me be. A village girl scorned, taught, her passion turned dark, hid in tricks. Inspector Grant knocked, boots heavy, mustache soft now. "Ma'am, we got the pendant hid in Clara's room under boards. You were right, not theft rage. Oh, you big—" He tipped his hat, respect clear. Miss Marple smiled kind. "Human nature, Inspector. Greed, love. Liza St. Mary Mead shows me. Glad it's done." He nodded, gruff but warm, and left case closed. The village settled, sun high. Gardens bright. Mrs. Wickett swept her porch, calling, "Bless you, Miss Marple. We're safe." Kids played, dogs barked, bread smelled sweet from the bakery. Justice. Fit Clara faced truth. Harrow rested, the pendant back. Miss Marple walked her garden, stick-tapping, roses red and cheery. She snipped a bloom, mind calm. Clues mud, clock, glove, letter tied tight, a puzzle one. Lucy sat with her, tea warm. "Your magic, Miss Marple. How'd you see it?" She chuckled, soft. "No magic, dear. Dord, listen. Think people spill all. A broken heart, eh? Faked dusk simple, really." The shadow at dusk was Clara, paying her push. St. Mary Mead buzzed happy, safe, full of praise. Miss Marple leaned back, knitting, eyes bright, case shut. Peace here ready for the next. No one else could.